Hello, storyteller. It's Storytelling Ron. We need to save the kids. This is a spiritual battle. We need to get involved. And my ministry is role playing games, and that we can have a fun Dungeons and Dragons like OSR like role playing game where you evangelize. You're a missionary. And you get your kids involved in this. Okay, so this is kind of a message to dads. But look at what's going on. I mean, this is how this is how it's everywhere. This hit me home because I just came back from Kansas City to see my son-in-law's graduation from college. And this is in Kansas City, Missouri or whatever. I don't know if it's Missouri part of the Kansas side. The students are protesting a teacher who's saying that it's too woke. The high school in Kansas is too woke, and the kids, the country kids in Kansas, a red state, and actually the freaking governor there is a Democrat. Even though so I don't know what's going on there as far as the election process, but you got it in Kansas. So they're coming after us on every level. Let me go to this real quick. I'm going to go to this in a sec. Watch RuPaul's Drag Race star brags of meeting so many kids at LA Drag Mega event. So they're after the kids, okay? They're after the kids, and they've even told us they're after the kids. This is the homosexual manifesto. You guys should know about this. It was first printed in Gay Community News, 1987. It has been put into congressional record by someone. But let me just a little bit. We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity, of your shallow dreams and vulgar lies. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your dormitories, in your gymnasiums, in your locker rooms, in your sports arenas, in your seminaries. Okay, that's why there's so many. The pre-scandal is a manufactured scandal by these individuals. And look, I'm not against. I'm obviously gay people can be good and bad, but this is the bad. I'm referring to the bad version, and it's big, it's huge. And they have a manifesto, and this is part of the manifesto, one of many. And this got published and spread around. It was very popular back in the 80s, and then once the Congress found out about it, because it was more conservative back then, they denied, oh, this is just a joke, whatever. But no, this is what they're doing in your seminaries. They're going after the gay men are going to seminaries, and pushing homosexuality. So now, and it's also a tool to destroy the church by doing this, then pretending to get exposed or exposing it, and then the media attacks the church because of their own people going in there and doing this. In your youth groups, in your movie theater bathrooms, in your army bunkhouses, in your truck stops, in your all-male clubs, in your houses of Congress, wherever men are with men together, your sons shall become our minions, do our bidding. So they're using, they're going to use fellatio, oral sex on them. They're going to seduce them in any way. And that's the main way. That is the main way that these types of gays get more gays. That's how you breed gays, is by seducing young men, using drugs. And Harvey Milk? That's what he wrote in his biography, or the official biography. He drugged young men and then seduced them. And now we have a Harvey Milk Day in California. So let me go through this real quick. This is pretty much my favorite, whatever that means, favorite section of the Bible. But I just like the whole dark, prophetic, kind of RPG concepts here. I mean, it's not RPG, but that's my post-apocalyptic thing. For the wrath of God, and this is him. This is I think Paul talking about the future. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppresses the truth and unrighteousness. This is Romans 1:18. Because that which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them. So we all know God. We all have morals. We all know it. We all know there's a Father, there's a Creator. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen. So the invisible attributes, the eternalness of his power and the divine nature, this is all evolution, his invisible attributes, man. We see that in the DNA. We see that in the coding that's going on in all creation. Eternal power, we see the ever expanding universe. Divine nature, we see nature and how it works and how there's 200 different calculated factors that that require to exist for even life to start here on this one planet and for the universe to exist as it does, being understood through what has been made. So this is specifically about creation, so that they are without excuse. So everyone knows God created this universe, and it's not random, created by a chaos, which is their God, chaos, I guess. For even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their speculations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools. So to me, these are professors. This is the academic, the elite. They are all fools, and they're all futile speculations. That's what evolution is. It's just constantly, oh, things evolve, things don't evolve. Oh, things evolve slowly. Oh, things evolve fast. I mean, what the heck? And then people are believing that, and they're darkened. You can tell when they have officially said they will not debate creation scientists. That's how dark their hearts are. They won't debate them. That's like the universities won't allow creation scientists even to debate like little issues. And if you start to go towards creation, you believe there's a created, they will excommunicate you from their universities. Okay. And exchange the glory of the incorruptible God. And think about that. God has not changed. Israel has the same God since the beginning of historical data. Whereas every nation around there, every empire has fallen and has gotten a new God, Islam is new, all the, whatever else. But this God of Israel, has remained the same God since historical records. And it's remained the smallest little Israel, that little slither there, all surrounded by the enemy. And yet it's still the same God, same text, same Hebrew text that we use today as Christians to know this God, our God, for an image. Okay, and then they replaced God with images of corruptible man. Let's get to that. And of birds and four-footed animals and crawling creatures. So look at that. Birds, interesting. Four-footed animals and crawling creatures. Why would they say birds? Because you see how they're doing that with dinosaurs now? They're trying to put feathers on them. Man, that is so lame. Now we see it in the game. We've seen it in the game, computer games. We see it in the movies now. They're putting feathers on dinosaurs. It is in the velociraptors. It is so lame. Oh, it's so stupid. Corruptible man. So now they're corrupting man. Changing man. That's obviously with the trans and everything. They're changing man and corrupting him, and of course making animal man, and they're worshiping the creatures. Therefore, God gave them over in the lusts of their hearts to impurity. So that's happening now. Evolution has started, exploded, and it's taken over, and now they've replaced God with corruptible man and birds, four-footed animals, and crawling creatures. Oh, and so now the lusts are exploding, the impurities in their heart, so that their bodies will be dishonored among them. That's happening. Poor kids that are being subjugated to that. And it's religious, it's spiritual. Why would any man or woman butcher a child who's suffering mentally or whatever, spiritually? Why would they butcher them? Why would they remove their breasts, destroy their genitalia the way they're doing it? For they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who's blessed forever. Amen. So it is a spiritual thing. Why would they do this? Why would any sane? They're not sane. They're reprobate. Here we go. For this reason, God gave them over to degrading passions. For their women exchanged the natural function for that which is unnatural. And in the same way, also the men abandoned the natural function of the woman and burned in their desire toward one another. Men with men committing indecent acts and receiving in their own persons the due penalty of their error. I do believe that refers to HIV or any other of the complications that happen with sodomy and whatever else they're doing, and drinking and drugs. And just as they did not see fit to acknowledge God any longer, God gave them over to the depraved mind to do things which are not proper, being filled with all unrighteousness, wickedness, greed, evil, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They are gossips, slanderers, definitely slanderers, haters of God, insolent, arrogant, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents. They don't want the parents. They got to take the children. Without understanding, untrustworthy, unloving, unmerciful. And although they know the ordinance of God, they know they're sinners, that those who practice such things are worthy of death. They not only do the same, but also give hearty approval to those who practice them. So this trans movement, this LGBTQ pride movement is all of this. And we have allowed it as a society, and it's unchecked now, and we need to obviously fight back, but obviously fight back in the best way to fight back. Join a church. Join a church. Support and grow this church. Bring your family into it. Bring your your education, and also be a political body. Ecclesia. And ecclesia in Old Greek, ecclesia means a body gathered for democracy. And that's what the original church was called, ecclesia, and we translate it to church, which I'm a little annoyed by. An ecclesia, back as the Greeks knew it back then, was a body of people that voted in democratic forums. And so the Christians would form an ecclesia where they would have their church, it's what we call a church, form their ecclesia, and then they would also vote as that one body. And we're not, that's the problem today, is we're not doing that anymore in our churches. But your church should also be a male pastor, only males, no women. If they're following the Bible, if they're following the Bible. And my wife and I go to John MacArthur's church, every woman there, and there are a ton of them, and they're very happy, very busy there. I have followed the orders and of several when I volunteer there. So plenty of women doing things there, but the men are the pastors and the men are the elders, and the women do other things. Many of them get up and speak during the Bible studies or group things or whatever. My wife goes, and everyone's fine. Everyone's great. The church is actually a little too crowded, to be honest. Anyway, so let's get back to this. I did that. Did the gay manifesto. Let's go to Dungeons and Dragons now. Okay. So Dungeons and Dragons has all these official videos about how tolerant they are. Oops, you don't see it on here. Let me switch that over. Where's my mouse? Okay. So YouTube, I just did a search on YouTube for all the wonderful things that they're doing here. They're so open. It's wonderful that there's gay people. I don't know what they're talking about, but they're talking about being gay in D&D and how wonderful it is. And they're so open and tolerant, unless you're a Christian. They're open and tolerant to you, and so inviting and so full of love if you believe exactly what they believe. That is the deception of this LGBTQ pride gay thing. And I call upon you, LGBTQ pride thing. Accept Christians exactly as they are, as we are, exactly as we are. If we are, and I don't mind separating out, like you play your game, we'll play our game. But if you're saying you're open and tolerant, which you're not, we Christians we're open to you to become a Christian and believe what we believe. Yeah, we're open to that. See, you're the same thing. You're not open and tolerant, and thusly should exclude us from everything. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with. Well, I do know where I'm going with this, but not the point. So look, Dungeons and Dragons has all kinds of official merchandise, and then there's non-official, but whatever. But they have a ton of stuff for Pride. Okay, official stuff too, and I've seen them on their Twitter put Pride stuff up. And then of course you can find all kinds of. I've searched too for the Christian ones, but all kinds of gay Pride, wonderful. They even got it in the books now. Wonderful gay stuff. And I remember there's a couple of videos out there where I've said you can play D&D as a Christian. And that was before last summer that, I've changed my mind. Completely, sort of. I even changed it because it's just boring now. I just don't like it anymore. I don't like the rules as they are. I don't like the character classes and how you're just funneled down a sort of a cocaine, a little bit of a cocaine feed every time you go through this funnel or and then you top out at some point because it gets too unwieldy. I don't even like that. That's, I don't even like the rules anymore. I don't like the way it plays out. So I'm calling for you guys to look, this is serious. It's like spiritual war. It's crazy how role-playing games have become so a tool of the pagans, a gateway drug to get kids into paganism, into trans, into all this stuff. And Wizards of the Coast is, just like any other corporation, is falling right in line with this. The world is falling in line with this movement that is a Romans 1:18 movement, across the world. End times, I guess. But I'm creating this little game. This is for Christians, Catholics too. Please, you're welcome. Come on in. And to play a role-playing game, have fun, have adventure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a fantasy one. I'm going to do one based off of my Alfred book series, which is very Dungeons and Dragons, like fantasy. But it's still, I got some little secrets there, reveals there, that you're still going to have missionaries going out and planting churches and evangelizing the faith. So that's still there. But I haven't put that one together yet. And I want to do some other ones too, like that. And this is an open call too for dads. Please join me. Help me out. Contact me if you need any help. Join the membership. $40 a year. You get all the games. You get all the assets I create. I'm also looking for contributors. If you create a venture, please let me know and I'll check it out. And if it's cool, I'll put it somewhere. Money wise, I don't know yet. I don't know how that's going to all work. And I'm not making any money off of this at the moment anyway. So, I mean, I'm losing money, but I'm enjoying the heck out of it. And so we'll see how that goes. But I'm certainly in the need for people making more adventures than what I can do on my own. But again, Christian, creation science, conservative, Calvinish. I'm Calvinish. You don't necessarily have to be Calvinish, but it's a contentious point on my end. So God is sovereign. There's no asterisk in that. God is sovereign. Anyway, so that's my clarion call to you all out there. You can't let them play 5e anymore, Dungeons and Dragons. You can't. I am not going to judge you in a horrible sense, but if you get them to play 5e, then they're going to get drawn into all this other stuff. And you don't need to, obviously. And many of them are leaving Wizards of the Coast anyway, and they're playing OSRs, which is just the older, just a simpler version of D&D, whatever. Independent role-playing game creators. I'm putting my hat in there and saying we need to do a Christian one where you actually evangelize and yet still can have the fun and adventure that we all expect from a role-playing game. I plan on doing some darker ones that are still for the Lord, a little more gritty and grim dungeon style, but still Crusaders and fighter, using. It's funny because medieval Europe is more freaky deaky than any of these OSR or RPGs or any of these role-playing games that are coming out now. These indies that with all their silly creatures and stuff. But the demonic, devilish sort of concepts in old medieval Europe are way creepier and frightening, which, but whatever route I go with this fun little role-playing game that I'm doing. So as I ramble and babble on here, I'm just giving you info and trying to get you to realize, hey, we got to get something going that's Christian evangelism, fellowship, edification, and an awesome alternative for our kids. That isn't any of that stuff out there that they're doing. And this is mine, after 40 years of doing this, this is good. This is a good system. It's rich. You can play a long campaign with this. You can get your kids really into their character. They can develop that character, any direction they want to go as they're role playing, creating an epic character. And they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Perfect. That's exactly how you want to start. A new character, a new fighter doesn't know what to do. So start reacting to the environment that, you as the game master, the grand minister, throw at them and let them develop their character as they go. As opposed to, like in Dungeons and Dragons and all these others, being told what to do. They're really being told what to do. You're really being told what character, you pick a character class, but then you're just told what to do. Giving a couple dice rolls. And you're just told which path you got to take. Maybe that's the mindless thing that you want, but I like that you role play out and figure out game after game how you like to play your character. And it doesn't matter that your character started off as a cleric. You can go towards a warrior. Doesn't matter if you're a warrior. You can go towards your faith. Doesn't matter if you're a patron lady. You could go towards a roguish scout and assassin. If you're a nun, you can go to a warrior nun. But, but the women, and there are differences between the sexes. So women, if they start thinking they can do battle axe wielding stuff, they're going to find that's going to be difficult for them. They can try, but they're going to hit a wall at some point, and men are always going to be stronger. So I absolutely have that built into the game mechanics. So that's enough for now. Just another new babbling updated video here. But again, this is very important. So please engage me if you're wanting to be the Grand Minister, if you're the dad. And yes, I'm saying dad as a sexist because I'm a Christian. I'll be called that or anything else with the woke culture. But I'm assuming dads will be the GMs for their kids, for the family, and the wife will reluctantly join in. And wives, as I've experienced, do know how to play very well. They're very good players, but they could take it or leave it. They could do that or do the dishes, and they're fine either way. I'm just like, well, I do the dishes, but they could do that or do something else. But dads, this is really important. Grandfathers, this is really important for you to get your grandson, your adult young grandson or granddaughter into a role-playing game that is not 5e or not some of these other ones, because a lot of the independent ones are generally not trying to push an agenda, but the world is what the world is, and if there's not a biblical foundation underneath it, I mean, even then, well, actually, most churches you find that are whacked generally are not biblically founded. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying. Give them a role-playing game where they can actually work out some of their evangelism, work out some of their own beliefs, trying to convince the pagans to stop doing what they're doing. And you can come up with any modern day thing that the LGBTQ or pagans are doing, and just turn it into whatever setting you have: medieval, post-apocalyptic, sci-fi. I've got a sci-fi game coming up just as soon as I can get out of this brain fog and finish and just clean it up. It's already done. I just need to organize and clean up the manual. Sorry, I'm doing my coffee burst. But and also I just need to build out the galaxy a little more, the universe. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and remember, the game of life: roll holy dice.